Paddy the Baddy just got beat. Paddy the Baddy, as a matter of fact, got submitted. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about? So there's something that goes on in England. This is Paddy's gym. Paddy enters this thing every year. It's called something, and then they have a king of the mat. It's a grappling tournament, but they have this thing, this king of the mat. Paddy was in the finals a year ago, and after an hour, they just stopped the match and called it a draw. So he was a co-champion. So whatever this thing is, it's a thing that matters to him. So he enters it, I guess, over the weekend, I guess. And he ends up getting beat.
Gaethje, Paddy, what do you think it looks like?
Oh man, more skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his haircut and the way he talks, and when I fought him, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there, but Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
I don't think that's true, dude. He's actually changed his style so much, and his stats are kind of misleading. Like, if you look at his significant strike numbers, dude, it's kind of like Max Holloway. Like, you can't statistically prove that Max Holloway's defense has improved or whatever it is, or that he's more technical, but you can see it when you rewatch his recent fights. Justin Gaethje's the same, dude. Like, his defense used to be fucking abysmal. He would just walk through you, but now he actually has shown improvements in his defense. He was making Dustin Poirier miss a lot in their fight, really frustrated him with his footwork, with his head movement. Had some good moments against Max Holloway, dropped him for the first time. He sharpened up his technique. He has a really nice jab. Like I said, his defense is a very underrated part of his game. He has good footwork. He feints. He mixes things up between the body and the head. I think that'll work well against Paddy Pimblett, who's super focused on, I need to have my hands up, I need to do this, or his hands are down really low. They're both open, depending on the feints and the setups that you use to capitalize really, really effectively on Paddy Pimblett in the striking. We've seen it.
Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, you know, it is what it is. But another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up too is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looked so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's the much better striker out of the two. We've seen him go 5 rounds. We saw him go 5 rounds against Holloway. I know that he got knocked out in the last second of that fight, and you know, it did kind of suck for that. I actually think I picked Holloway to beat him, though. I can't actually remember. But anyway, it did kind of suck for Gaethje for that to have happened. But, you know, it did kind of create a viral moment that people are still trying to recreate to this.
Brace yourself, because Paddy Pimblett, famously branded as the Baddy, is marching straight into what may become the most dangerous, career-defining crossroads of his entire professional journey. Standing across the octagon from him is Justin Gaethje, a man who doesn't just invite violence but seems engineered to manufacture chaos, damage, and mayhem with every step he takes inside the cage. And here's where the tension tightens. This matchup isn't just compelling, it's combustible. Their styles clash like opposing elements, one built on flow and opportunism, the other on relentless destruction, and their recent trajectories couldn't be pulling harder in opposite directions. That contrast alone turns the air electric. Fans, analysts, and critics are split straight down the middle, each convinced they see the ending before it happens. But strip away popularity, strip away online hype and viral moments, and what remains is something far more unforgiving. This is not a popularity contest, not a branding exercise. This is a ruthless, high-stakes examination of Paddy Pimblett himself, a moment where excuses evaporate and reality closes in. Against a force like Gaethje, survival is currency. And proving his mettle isn't optional, it's mandatory. Everything Pimblett claims to be is about to be tested, violently in real time.
Other guys, but I know Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje is a very competitive fight. It's going to be an exciting fight. And I'm not saying other fights not going to be exciting, you know, but at the end of the day, we know Paddy and Justin Gaethje is going to be a complete firework. Somebody There's no way in hell this fight will go 5 rounds. There's no way, you know.
Are you surprised that Justin opened as like a plus 200 underdog? I think it's already starting to flip a little bit.
It's no problem. He was underdog was Tony Ferguson too. What happened? You know, he was underdog was Dustin Poirier second time. What happened? You know, it's okay. You can doubt Justin, but I'm gonna tell you something. If Justin fights in Chael, he's gonna make it sleep. I respect Pimblett. I think he's very underrated. I think a lot of people talk shit about him, but I was like, the guy never lost in the UFC. How are you gonna talk shit about him? But I think if Justin Gaethje, touch his chin, he's gonna make him go to sleep. But vice versa too. He have very good grappling. It's a very
As expected, the entire professional fight community is crackling with tension, and predictions are flooding in from every corner of the MMA world as this massive collision draws closer. Among the loudest and sharpest voices is the ever-observant, never-filtered Chael Sonnen, who delivered a take that cuts far deeper than surface-level results. He didn't focus merely on Paddy losing a recent grappling match, not even close. Chael framed that loss as a psychological X-ray, exposing something critical about Paddy's inner makeup and, more importantly, his mindset heading into the cage against a certified wrecking machine like Justin Gaethje. Sonnen zeroed in on a telling detail. Paddy, deep in the exhaustion and danger zone of a brutal training camp, still chose to step into a local grappling competition at his own gym. Pause on that. A hometown event, surrounded by familiar faces, loaded with pride, pressure, and real consequences. Chael emphasized how easily Paddy could have avoided it, protected his image, minimized risk. But he didn't. He showed up anyway, fought anyway, knowing injury or defeat were real possibilities. And when the result didn't go his way, he didn't flinch, didn't deflect, didn't hide. He absorbed it. He accepted it. He owned it. According to Chael, that moment wasn't weakness exposed, it was resilience revealed, a dangerous signal that Paddy doesn't dodge risk, he runs straight toward it.
Paddy the Baddy, as a matter of fact, got submitted. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about? So there's something that goes on in England. This is Paddy's gym. Paddy enters this thing every year. It's called something. And then they have a king of the mat. It's a grappling tournament, but they have this thing, this king of the mat. Paddy was in the finals a year ago, and after an hour, they just stopped the match and called it a draw. So he was a co-champion. So whatever this thing is, it's a thing that matters to him. So he enters it, I guess, over the weekend. I guess. And
pushing that breakdown even further, Chael seamlessly tied this mentality straight into the looming collision with Justin Gaethje, and this is where the tension sharpens. In his view, real fighters, especially ones wired with Paddy's stubborn, unfiltered spirit, simply don't function by guarding a polished public image the way stars and safer, mainstream sports often do. They don't calculate optics first. They don't hide behind timing or convenience. Instead, they willingly walk into brutal, high-risk situations even when there's absolutely nothing tangible waiting on the other side. No belt, no massive paycheck, no external reward at all. Just naked pride and self-respect on the line. And Chael was adamant about why this mindset isn't just admirable, but essential when you're preparing to collide with a force like Gaethje. Because Justin isn't merely an opponent, he's a pressure engine. He lives inside chaos. He feeds on stress, absorbs it, and converts it directly into violence. According to Chael, you cannot survive someone like that if even a sliver of fear exists beneath the surface. The moment you worry about losing, about embarrassment, about consequences, that hesitation becomes blood in the water. Gaethje will sense it, he will isolate it, and he will tear it apart. Fear, Chael insists, isn't just a weakness against Justin Gaethje, it's an open invitation to be broken.
one of the reasons it's so cool is I don't think you have heard about it. One of the reasons I think it's so cool is there's no other sport where this would happen. One of the reasons I think it's so cool is it doesn't matter. And that's one cool thing about our community. Like, if a guy like Paddy wants to go out there and take a risk and do something like this, he can chalk that up to a tremendous victory. He can also chalk that up to a workout. And you know what? We need to keep it that way. It's one thing that we have done very well.
Chael, ever the contrarian, forcefully dismantled the popular misconception that a loss outside the sanctioned cage, especially in a grappling setting, automatically signals weakness, and he did it with surgical precision. He clarified that these battles don't stain an official MMA record, don't rewrite history, and don't inflict traditional damage where it supposedly matters most. But what they do reveal, unmistakably, is something far more dangerous. According to Chael, they expose hunger. They expose a relentless, internal drive to compete, to test limits, and to evolve even when there's no spotlight, no applause, and no safety net. Through Sonen's experienced lens, Paddy's reaction to that grappling loss spoke volumes. He didn't spiral. He didn't deflect. He didn't bury it or pretend it never happened. Instead, he treated it like another brutal rep, another lesson carved into muscle memory. That response, Chael argued, revealed a fighter wired for pressure, someone with the mental steel and raw grit required to walk forward, chin high, straight into the inferno against a nightmare like Justin Gaethje, not freezing, not retreating, and certainly not playing it safe, because this moment isn't defined by physical toughness alone. It's shaped by the psychological war that begins long before the cage door closes, where fear is exposed, confidence is tested, and only the mentally unbreakable survive.
That LeBron drops in for a one-on-one with the college star. He just couldn't take the risk. He just simply could not take the risk. This happened when I was a kid. It was to John McEnroe in Oregon. This was before the internet was a thing, but John McEnroe came out and he played somebody. There we had some high school star down in it was down in Eastern Oregon. I want to say maybe Pendleton. At any rate, the guy beat him. Our high school star beat McEnroe, and this was a thing. This was a thing. But it's one of these reasons why you can't ever get that. Like, you are left to believe that the NBA is better than the NCAA. You're led to believe the NFL is better than college football. I'm sure you're right, but there's exceptions, and there's certain positions at certain times where there are exceptions. You will never know.
Now shift your focus, because this was the storyline that hijacked the entire fight news cycle and refused to let go. When the ever-reliable Ariel Helwani confronted the swirling injury rumors surrounding Justin Gaethje, he didn't tiptoe around the issue. He attacked it head-on. Ariel made it clear that the strange videos and photos flooding the internet sent a jolt through the MMA world, largely because the timing felt disturbingly wrong, almost deliberate. Think about it. Just as the build-up should have been pristine, focused, and airtight, this unsettling doubt suddenly slipped into the narrative and started spreading fast. Helwani stressed that even a whisper like this has the power to reshape how fans emotionally read the entire matchup with Paddy. He then peeled the situation open further, underscoring just how murky and uncomfortable it truly was. Ariel carefully dissected why the images looked odd, even alarming, and why fans weren't paranoid or foolish for questioning what they were seeing. The real issue, he argued, wasn't simply what Justin or his camp claimed the injury was. It was how bad it looked to the naked eye and, perhaps more dangerously, how explosively those images detonated across social media. That level of uncertainty, Helwani concluded, doesn't fade quietly. It lingers like a dark cloud over a high-stakes fight, warping the mood, distorting expectations, and quietly poisoning the atmosphere as fight week creeps closer.
Rumors have been swirling that Justin Gaethje is injured. A few videos have surfaced of him diving and cracking heads with someone, which wobbled him bad. Do you have any inside information? Have you not heard of this? Okay, actually, I got to be honest. I thought you guys were talking about. I thought he was going to ask about. I saw a bunch of pictures about this thing.
Though, right?
Yeah, the ingrown hair is what he's claiming.
Okay, right.
Ingrown hair and a bit of brisket. Yeah.
Brisket.
Yeah, a little brisket on the chin.
Because they said he had herpes on his mouth. He's like, I was eating brisket and I had an ingrown hair.
If that is an ingrown hair, that's the gnarliest ingrown hair I've ever seen. That makes like a little red dot on your neck if it's an ingrown hair. He had a crater in his neck. I don't know about
By the way, could you imagine, just for a moment, do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
I do know
exactly where you're going.
Enter Armin.
Yes.
Enter Armin.
Yes, it's time. Now, is Armin ready is the thing.
Nobody walks
some
up
of those videos.
No,
oh my God.
Then came the brutally honest assessment from Artur Lobov, and he didn't sugarcoat a single word. He opened by admitting something that immediately raised the stakes. He has doubted Paddy Pimblett before, written him off, and paid for it by getting his predictions dead wrong. But even with that history hanging over him, Artur confessed he still couldn't ignore the same warning signs that keep resurfacing every time Paddy fights. To Lobov, The pattern is troubling. Again and again, there are moments where Paddy's gas tank visibly drains, where the pace catches up to him and dangerous openings begin to appear. And that, he stressed, is a terrifying flaw when you're standing across from someone who weaponizes pressure the way Justin Gaethje does. A man who never stops, never breathes, never eases off. But the most alarming issue, the one Artur zeroed in on with almost surgical intensity, was Paddy's defense, or lack of it. He highlighted how Paddy still habitually carries his chin high, leaving it exposed, practically inviting opponents to test it with clean, punishing shots. That reckless, high-risk style can look thrilling against fighters who hesitate or fade late. But here's the problem. Justin Gaethje doesn't slow down. He doesn't hesitate. And when he lands with intent. Artur made it painfully clear that admiring Paddy's chaos is one thing, but trusting it to survive against an elite striker of Gaethje's caliber is an entirely different, far more dangerous gamble.